I'm on the radio today, and I'm speaking. I think I'm audible for everyone to hear what's happening. So in the studio, we have Dr. Tarun. He has been with us from 2018, and he is our critical care medicine consultant, specializing in internal medicine. He has been in this field for over 15 years. Well, the bio online says over 15 years, but it must be more than that by now. Dr. Tarun, he started with us in 2018. Our topic today is focusing on nutrition and executive health checks, and the executive health checks run the whole gamut of tests that you can do, which he'll be able to speak to in terms of the knowledge on what your numbers are, what we need to ensure that we're evaluating on an ongoing basis. And then sitting beside me is Kaylee Bright, who is our registered dietitian. Um, and before we started the show as well, we kind of went 2018, 2019, 2020. Dr. Tarun joined Health City in 2018. I joined in 2019.
Okay.
And Kaylee is one of our newer hires at Health City who has joined. We now have two registered dietitians, Stella Ree, who was on one of our shows this morning, and Kaylee Bright, who is here today as well. So she will be well equipped to talk about the nutrition, dietary tips and tricks that we should be following to ensure that we're in tip-top health for 2020. We're already in February, right?
Right.
We said new year, new you. We're still early in the year. New Year's resolutions have
Absolutely.
happened, and people have started breaking them.
Yes.
And we're here today to remind everyone, don't take your health for granted. Ensure you come to do your executive health checks and ensure you keep your nutrition in good shape.
Yeah, absolutely. And I talk about this quite a bit. And Shamari, usually who comes down, we talk about the executive health checks. And I had gotten one done last year. I'm not sure, maybe it was October, September, October. And yeah, it was an awesome experience. It really was. Everything very efficient, very fast, everything checked out, and I actually saw Stellary at the time. So yeah, Stellary has me eating less rice. So we laugh about that because, Shamari's like, rice? No, we have to eat rice. We're Caymanians or Caribbean people. So it's like, yeah, just make sure it's a certain amount. So I'm not saying no rice, right? So you can appreciate that, Kaylee, yeah?
So cutting out something in your diet is always a bad thing. So a little bit of rice in moderation is perfect.
Right, yeah. So, and telling us what the portions on the styrofoam containers really represent, and the larger portion is for the vegetable.
Yes, it's not for the jerk chicken or the jerk pork. It's actually the giant vegetable patch that we need because it has the most vitamins and minerals. And most of the time, that even for me, I have to admit, sometimes it doesn't look like that.
Right.
We always end up going for the easier, not necessarily the healthier choices.
Right, absolutely. So let's see, Doctor, is it Tarun or Tarun?
It's Tarun.
Tarun. Okay, Dr. Tarun. Thank you. And before the show, you said not last name. We go by first names in the Health City. Is that correct? All right, so Dr. Tarun. I'm going to just give a little bit of info about you, just some background that Tiffany sent over. Now she's assured that it's more than 15 years. So you have how many years experience? 16, 17?
Yeah, it's almost 16 years.
All right, okay. In the field of medicine and its subspecialties, you worked in prestigious hospitals in India. While all the fields of internal medicine interest you, you have a special energy for critical care medicine and have been consolidating and enhancing the intensive care services at various hospitals for over 6 years.
Yeah.
Also has a formal qualification in critical care medicine from the National Board and a strong commitment to developing and updating medical knowledge and improving patient care. And your specialized general physician, yes,
Yeah.
that you offer a number of medical services, but your special interest is in the utility of point of care ultrasonography in the intensive care unit. Yeah?
Yes.
So that's your area.
Yeah, critical care medicine is more my area.
Yeah.
So I just like to do the critical care stuff.
Okay. And so what I guess what about that? Because that wouldn't have been what you originally started when you started your journey as a doctor. That wouldn't have been it. So how did you kind of know that that was the area that you'd be more interested in?
Uh, I was basically an internist. My basic specialty is internal medicine. But critical care, I started liking it right from my post graduation days. Critical care physician is not a complete physician who looks at almost everything.
Okay.
And it gives a more adrenal rush. So started getting more into critical medicine. So I just started practicing critical medicine for the last 6 years.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because intensive care is pretty, as the word says, it's pretty intense, huh? And that's where like there's no, I mean, there's no sleeping on the job anyway, but you're on your feet constantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it must feel really, be a part of somebody's journey to get them from that point to where they, are feeling better. So let's talk a little bit, Tiffany, about the executive health checks and things that we're,
If anyone has any additional questions, they can email me at KY. So in a nutshell, can be done in a day. If there are persons who are interested in any additional add-ons to the check, they're also we have our basic executive check, and then you can also do a cardiac executive check as well, which goes into a little bit more detail in terms of the heart. So you can do a comprehensive executive check and then a cardiac executive health check. So there are different add-ons that you can do. A lot of people as well in your health insurance package in Cayman, a lot of the insurance providers, there is a wellness benefit involved in their package, which it expires every year. So that's a good opportunity as well for persons to utilize those funds for proactive doing these wellness checks in advance of getting them.
okay. All right. And so, in terms, so we talk a little bit about some of the things that are looked at when you sign up for an executive health check, because I know, so the comprehensive then includes everything, right? Is that the comprehensive one?
Yes, you have the executive health. It's a comprehensive base package. So
Right.
it looks at your cholesterol, um, your kidney panel, your uric acid, and so on. But if you want to do additional tests, you can actually do add-ons of the cardiac. And I'll ask Dr. Tarun to go into the details with regards to that.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, so tell us about some of the add-ons. So what I'm seeing here for the, I guess I'm not sure if it's executive, but it has a complete blood count, the lipid, fats, the kidney function, like you said, the thyroid panel, TSH, the ECG, physical consultation, is a physician consultation, fasting blood sugar, liver function panel, uric acid, urine examination, and the chest X-ray. That's just like your basics.
Yes, so that's the full executive health check.
Okay.
Right. And then after that, if you wanted to do additional testing, such as a cardiac testing, abdominal ultrasound, then you went into the comprehensive health check package.
Okay, which I did. I did the comprehensive. I did, absolutely. They hooked me up to all kinds of stuff, and felt sorry for me after a while that I was just not able to jog because they're testing your heart, right? And so, but it all worked out. It was really good, and yeah, so I kind of added some of those things onto it. So it's really very just so beneficial for you to just know what's going on with yourself and stuff like that. So can you explain maybe some of the things that come with the cardiac when you add on the cardiac part of it to the check?
The cardiac executive, we usually do not advise in everyone, but in people who have significant amount of risk factors. The risk factors, it starts from the basics actually, as the hypertension. Hypertension is known as the silent killer. Uh, you will not realize that you're hypertensive unless you get it measured, you get it checked, and you don't control it. And unless the hypertension causes an endowment damage, an organ damage, the symptoms will be very visible. So our basically the executive health check starts from checking your vitals, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your body weight, and everything. There's some of the risk factors like diabetes, hypertension, being obese or overweight, a family history of coronary artery disease, like father having the coronary artery disease at the age of less than 55, mother having the coronary artery disease of less than age 65. For them, cardiac executive health check becomes very mandatory.
Okay.
And it is very important for them, and it is looked at in comprehensive. They do a basic test like ECG, echocardiography, treadmill test, as well as something called CT calcium scoring. So, as a comprehensive, we look at all these things, and based on CT calcium scoring, we decide to evaluate them further with respect to the cardiac health, or uh, put them on medicines. Because basically, health check means two things: prevention as well as mitigation. You see any issues on the health check, then we try to prevent the disease from worsening, uh, prevent the disease from coming, or mitigate them. Start them on the medicines at an early stage, so that the disease doesn't progress. Like adding them on statins, or as first as simple as diet modifications, lifestyle changes, exercises, then if necessary, to add them on medications.
Okay.
So,
All right. So just to kind of get to know if there is a problem and you're able to address it.
yes.
Yeah, early. It's kind of early detection stuff as well. And I mean, people are very busy, right? So we're busy, even though we live on a beautiful tropical island with surrounded by the sea. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Healy got here, right? Not so long.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months ago. And you're from South Africa? Yes, Cape Town. And so what do you think of this beautiful island?
It's my new home. I absolutely love it. I do miss home, obviously, South Africa, but it's just so beautiful, the sea and the ocean, and like everyone here is so kind and friendly. That is what I've noticed. Everybody says hello to you and is helpful, and you stop for other people crossing the road, which is not
true.
like South Africa. But it's I've also noticed the sort of distribution of body weight is different on island as well. Just as being a dietitian, I tend to look at people. And in South Africa, we're struggling with malnutrition, whereas here we're going the overnutrition, which is also important. So the health check is amazing to just see maybe you think you're doing great, weight is perfect. Maybe you just need a little bit of modification. You also think, oh, something's wrong. Uh, I'm feeling very lethargic. Maybe it's just your diet that needs a little bit of changing. So the health check goes over everything that you need to actually get checked. And no one cares about their health. They just want to go out to the beach. They want to finish work and just carry on with their life. So it's great that they have it here at Health City.
Yeah, well, funny enough, you say that. One of the reasons why, I kind of made mention of you just getting here, how much people from other places really come and enjoy all of the beautiful water and sand and beautiful living that we as Caymanians take for granted. And I don't know if I want to, and not in a negative way. I'm not saying take it for granted in a negative way. I think it's just that you get so caught up in your own routine that you go to work and you go home, and you go to work and you go home. And when we're tired, we're just vegging out basically. Like, I just want to relax. Like right now, I can't wait to get home to put on some Netflix, right? And so when the weekend comes, like, okay, let me get my shopping done, but let me get back home. So I think like that's a large part of our stresses as well. So we're not moving as much as we should.
Yeah.
And so moving is a huge thing. And like you said, you're noticing body mass, right? So what we're putting in our body versus, of not just the calories, but how we're kind of working that off, right? So we're not doing enough to just keep our body moving and paying attention. So this is a perfect opportunity at Health City to go on out and get that checked. 2021, it definitely is, a new year, right? So, new you. Let's check that out, see what's happening with you. Because I think sometimes when we have some issues with ourselves, the first thing is like, oh my goodness, am I going to have a heart attack? Am I going to die? It's like, probably not. You're probably going to be okay, but check it out first. And so you can kind of get on top of it. And I love the whole executive check because you get to speak to doctors in every area. And so you get to, talk to them about whatever issues you might be having. So it's not just one doctor, the doctor that's dealing with every single thing, and you get to sit with them, consult with them. I even had like the person that was doing the ultrasound talking to me, asking me different questions and stuff. So it felt very comfortable. And then sitting down with the dietitian after was amazing. It really was, because even if it just takes your attention now to focus on some of the things that you might be doing or you need to be doing, that's perfect. Yeah. So I think that's my approach. I've been promoting this since last year. Like, absolutely, like, go get your executive health check done. For
It's so
sure.
good to know that you're doing great with your diet and you're doing great with your health. A lot of people come in and they do follow-ups and they're just so happy and they feel so motivated to carry on with like achieving their good health and their physical abilities. They all, it actually brings them up a bit
Yeah.
and their confidence.
Well, funny enough, my line of work is with the brain, right? My line of work is psychology and counseling and so forth. And so it's funny enough, when you're feeling sick, you feel like something's wrong, oh my goodness, and then you find out that it's nothing wrong, you feel fine. It's the weirdest thing. Like, you just feel, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening to me. I gotta go to the doctor. The doctor, and he says, no, you're fine. Nope, nothing from your heart.
You feel better.
And then all of a sudden, like, all right, can I get some water? Like, I just go sit down and relax. Like, you just now, because the brain is so important, right? Like, keeping that healthy. So knowledge about what's going on with you is key in order for you to, just get up and do it again the next day and keep moving, right? Yeah.
It's like proactive management of oneself is extremely critical. It's very, very important. Uh, you have to be. We are all responsible for our own health. Being responsible doesn't mean that okay, I don't have symptoms, I don't have any issues, I'm healthy. Not just saying to yourself. The easiest way is to get a test done. By doing some tests, you at least you'll realize that okay, this is where I have lack, this is where I have to work on. So you may not realize that you're a pre-diabetic. You may not realize that you're having hypertension. These are all never shown. they don't show any symptoms unless they're very, very severe.
Right.
So we'll have to cut them out in the beginning itself, transfer them, start them on diet and lifestyle modifications, start them on medicines if necessary. So all this starts at a very early stage.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I have a question for maybe Kaylee. What are some of the things that you are seeing in terms of diet here, like the difference coming from, from your country versus what you're seeing here that could be maybe problematic?
So there's we cook our food at home. A lot of South African people can't afford sort of takeaways at all. Now I'm noticing on the island, everybody doesn't have time to make food. Their kitchen is just it's something to look pretty in their house. They don't cook the food themselves, which is very strange for me. So I have to actually help patients sort of pick the healthier choice because they have no option. They don't have time. Usually, I used to promote meal prepping, but more people want things now and they want it prepared. But there's a healthier way to sort of prepare the foods or choose the healthier choice, the one with the less salt, with less marinade. Go to the other shops that obviously don't look avoid the ones that look more healthy and use a lot of oils and fats. So mainly that's the one thing. A lot of people here are taking vegetables. They have more sort of food is expensive. It is in general. I mean, even here, but people have a wide variety of vegetables and they're more open to having vegetables here on the island. With the Canadian diet, yes, and the Italian majority of people here and the Indian people, everybody has starch. Starch is a big portion, but it's amazing that they can sort of integrate the vegetables with the starch, and then you can just sort of advise them with portion control. And people are scared at first, but then they sort of adapt. And I've seen a lot of patients that they actually enjoy the vegetables when they know how to cook them and when they use their sort of cuisine and their spices and their way of cooking at home, or they ask the place that they get their food from. So it's quite amazing the variety of different cultures you have on the island as well.
Yeah, definitely. So you would definitely see people from different places, but they're here, so they have to almost like adjust, right? Because even your uh, like your general diet would have to adjust also here,
Yes,
right?
definitely. The products here are very different. I
Right.
think the first time I went to the shop, it took me 3 hours to get my groceries.
Just navigate the place. Yeah.
Everything they have organic, and then they have non-GMO, and then there's 5 different choices for one product, and everything's very confusing. And then everything says low salt or low fat, but then it's high in sugar. So I don't like looking at the back of the label, but it's very important you do because it will show you a lot what the product is really about.
Right.
A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. So just navigating your way around the grocery store and just, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one do I choose? Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. You'll stay with me. We're going to take a quick break. You guys, please stay with me as well. Of course, you can join in the conversation at 943-3700 or email us at straighttalk at star927.command.ky. We are here with the Health City Folks on Medical Monday. New Year, New You, nutrition and executive health checks, talking with Tiffany Dixon Evans, who's the Global Sales and Marketing Manager, Kaylee Bright, the registered dietitian, and Dr. Tarun Shishagari, who is the consultant critical care and internal medicine. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
This is why you like saying use my first name. You're probably cringe. My name, whenever people I say my name's Katie, and they say, "Oh, your name's Haley." I think it's just the way I speak.
with lots of goodies in their bag to share with you. And today we're talking about New Year, New You, nutrition, and executive health checks, and how you need to find out what's going on with you and find out, in good time so you can deal with that. Dr. Tarun, let me ask you, what are some of the things that you think people should look for if they were, kind of interested in getting themselves like healthy? If is there some certain indicators or something that they could kind of look for?
That's the issue. That's the thing. We have to empirically. It's a preventative health check. Without any symptoms, we have to catch the disease at an early stage. Most of the times, what happens is because I don't have any symptoms, I'm healthy, I'm fit, and also being fit doesn't equate to being healthy. Being fit and being healthy are two different things.
Right.
So it's always very mandatory to get the health check done, and particularly it should start at the age of 40. After the age of 40, get a basic health check just to look at his cholesterol levels, HbA1c levels, where we check diabetes, prostate levels, and after the age of 45, it becomes very mandatory to do a colonoscopy screening, so that we can detect cancer screening earlier and try to treat them. So all these things are very much necessary. Usually what happens is, in this fast paced life, no one has time to exercise, no one has time to have a good food, and they keep running around, and just because their body allows, they'll try to push it as much as possible. They'll get their vehicle service but not their health. For a good running of the vehicle, they want their vehicle service, but for good running of their own body, which is an asset, as you mentioned earlier, they don't do anything. So it becomes very much mandatory to have at least a basic executive health check after the age of 40.
Okay, so basically you're strongly suggesting that anyone over the age of 40, they should have an executive health check.
Yes.
Yes, and if you've never had an executive health check, or you've never had a full body health check, and you are 40 or over, you should put that on your list. Yes?
Yes.
For sure. Now, you did mention the car, getting it serviced and changing oil and all that stuff. How do you service this body? How do you keep this body okay? And that would be, I guess, Kaylee, that would be your answer now. You and Dr. Tyrone will talk about that. How do you keep this body healthy?
Yeah. See, for example, you're totally asymptomatic. You don't have any symptoms at all. You do a health check, and you realize that your LDL, the bad cholesterol, is on the higher side. You realize that you're a pre-diabetic, and during your vitals, you realize that you're slightly overweight. So you'll have a goal. You'll have a goal where to work on it. So you'll know which part you should concentrate more on. So that will become a lot easier. You'll have a how to modify your exercise, goal oriented. This preventive health check is more of disease specific nowadays, and it involves the participation of the patients as well. So there'll be a lot of interactions, lot of uh, tests that will be done, and to see where the person stands, particularly on his health status.
Okay. All right. And so, yeah. So, Kaylee, yeah.
It's
What are some of the
amazing actually
things?
how many people are pre-diabetic on the island. Nearly,
Is it because we put sugar in everything?
because there is sugar in everything.
Well, we put sugar in everything,
and then we
too.
put more on top.
If you had our potato salad, sugar is the secret ingredient.
And
Coleslaw,
yogurt.
sugar. Anyway, go ahead.
The yogurt, I cannot find one that meets the sodium, meets the fat, and meets the sugar requirements. Even a Bulgarian plain yogurt, it's quite difficult to find. In my mind, I know the values.
Right.
I struggled. It took me a while to find one because everything is just coming in with a load of sugar, and we think it's healthy, and we have this pretense that we're doing great, but our cholesterol is showing different things. So for Dr. Tarrant can prescribe some cholesterol lowering medication, but before then, we want to focus on preventative healthcare. That's where we come in.
Right.
That's what good nutrition prevents any chronic disease of lifestyle. So diabetes is absolutely, especially type 2 diabetes, it can be sort of prevented. A lot of it is caused by sedentary lifestyle, not exercising, not going in. We don't. A lot of people on the island use public transport, but if we actually took a walk down the road, that will get our heart pumping and make sure that we're losing that extra bit of fat that prevents us from the molecules in the sugar going to the different parts of the body. And then eventually, 10 years down the line, we're used to the diet and we've got diabetes when we should have just had the health check, seen the dietitian, seen that these aren't the things that we're supposed to be eating all the time.
Take a walk.
Take a walk. Yes, take a
Right.
walk. Definitely a brisk walk.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And your body will thank you.
I mean, people have dogs. They should go and walk their dog. The poor dog is in the yard. And it's simple things that you can change. And
Right.
diet is sort of 80% and exercise is 20%, but you need to have the both to make sure that you have a healthy body and a healthy mind.
Right. And since you're speaking, I'll direct a question to you now also, Kaylee. So if people can come to a dietitian about different things, so what are some of the things that people can come to talk to you about? Like I see on this list, food allergies and intolerances in the body. Like sometimes you don't know why your body's reacting a certain way. They can actually come and talk to a dietitian about that.
So there's a lot of almond milk on the shelves. It's because on the island, everybody has dairy intolerances. That's one of the number one thing that we get. Me personally struggling from it. Tummy upset, feeling lethargic, you're feeling bloated, and you're not feeling well after having some dairy, maybe the ice cream and maybe some cheese, had some pizza, or even just put on a healthy sandwich. You're putting a lot of loads of cheese and having lots of milk, drinking lots of milk. So we sort of assess the diet, go through, the patient comes in, expresses the different concerns they have. So with if they're having intolerances to certain fruits, we give you alternatives. A lot of people don't know that there is alternatives on island. There's a lot of vegan options. There's a lot of gluten-free. A lot of people are allergic to wheat and barley, and it could be a simple thing that they can change, and they would feel a lot better. And a lot of people just go through it, and you're actually damaging your mucosal layers in your colon. And if you're doing that for another 20 years, by the time you get your colonoscopy test after 45, your colon is sort of damaged, and you're being at risk of more different types of cancers. So it's very important.
And so what's kind of breaking that, you're saying? What's breaking that in the colon?
So people can't digest the lactose. They don't have the sort of they can't, in a simple way, they can't digest it. So it's sitting there in the gut. It's irritating the gut, and they could just go with a lactose-free containing milk like Lactaid, or they can go for almond milk, oat milk, soy milk as well. So there's lots of variations that they can go for.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I've just now started with the almond milk after seeing Stellary.
Did you have a problem?
Well, actually, yeah, it was like my cholesterol was a little high. It wasn't like a concern yet,
Yes.
but it was on the higher side. And so all of the suggestions, were to cut out the cheese and the milk and
The animal products.
yeah, stuff like that. So it's been rough. It's been rough for me because I found that I would like the oxtail or the stewed Buchanan style beef, like Shamar and I would talk about that. It's amazing, but I've cut it out. You know what I mean? So it's like you do what you have to do, and not kind of let what you like control what's good for you per se.
Eventually, your body will crave what's good for you.
Yeah.
So you will want to have vegetables included in your dinner. You won't necessarily, when you have that takeaway now and then, you would actually feel sick afterwards because your body's not used to it.
Yeah.
And the extra fats and oils in it as well.
Yeah.
So with the cholesterol specifically, so the cholesterol, it could be familial, so it could be coming from your family. A lot of people, it runs through the family, and we can use medication, but you can also cut out the certain types of, use a different type of oil, use your olive oil or your coconut oil. A lot of the patients have issues with diet adaptions, yes, but don't go cold turkey. Go and have your goat curry before you start your diet. Well, it's sort of a diet modification. Not, I don't like using the word diet.
Mm-hmm.
And then have it now and then. So once every 2 weeks. That's twice every month. So don't exclude things completely forever. You're going to be able to have it at some stage.
Really? Okay.
You just need your body to rest.
Yeah.
And you can. I think a lot of people, when they see us, they think we're going to tell them you can't have sugar, you can't have any starch, you can't have any salt at all.
Yeah.
Everything has to be sort of plant-based.
Yeah.
Yes, we love plant-based, but we also want you to enjoy food as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I've scaled back so much, and on the sugar, the coffee, trying to take it black or just a little bit of some almond milk in it. So these
You're
are
not doing
just
that.
small, right? Exactly, just small little changes, And before I might have taken like 2 or 3 spoons of creamer, and now it's just a dash, just so it looks a little dirty as opposed to, but it's just doing things that will be better for your body, because in the long run that's really what matters. That's what you're talking about, for sure, Dr. Tarun, right? So is to not wait until it's a huge problem, and now it's beyond preventative, it's now an emergency.
Yeah, the present medicine is the earlier people were getting scared of, oh, what if I get diagnosed of this one? What if I get diagnosed of the other one? That was because there was no proper medications earlier. No proper, there was no proper concept of diet changes, lifestyle changes. But now the medicine has changed. It is more disease specific. So it's the earlier that you diagnose, the better it is,
Right.
so that we can remove it from the root.
Absolutely. So, and in terms of nutrition, people will come after that executive health check. I think you're the last person on the nutrition is the last person on the list.
Yes, they're
And
usually tired after the treadmill
yes,
run.
yes. And so you have the whole book in front of you. I think you're either the last or right before you see the doctor or something that just talks about everything on that list for you. And then you open up, kind of, not a menu, but like food stuff, and start talking about foods and what's good food and what's not good food. And it's really just a very nice consultation with someone who understands food and understands what it's doing to the body. And you're talking about whether someone has hypertension, diabetes, looking at your list here, kidney disease, cardiovascular disease, gastrointestinal diseases like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, GERD, diverticulitis, which I know quite a few people suffer from on island. These are some very common things on island. And as I said before, the food allergies and intolerances, and infant and childhood nutrition as well, right? So just a very comprehensive, discussion about uh, you specifically, not what you've heard, or your mom doesn't eat that or she doesn't like that, but it's actually your scores, your results. I really, really appreciate that. So you guys have got to go down to Health City and get those executive health checks. Now, how would they be able to get that done, Tiffany? Just share with my listeners who I know they're about to go get that done or set up something. And I think most insurance companies actually cover these checks. So talk to us a little bit about the business side of it.
Right. So, everyone in the Cayman Islands, we have our health insurance coverage. There's the wellness check side of it, and then depending on the type of cover that you have as well, will determine what percentage you get. There's some organizations or some who are fortunate to get 100% coverage depending on their plan because they have a premier plan policy. However, the best way to get in touch with us is to send an email over at info@healthcity.ky if you would like to make an appointment. You could also call us as well.
And that number, is it 640-4040?
Yes.
Something
Yes,
like that. Very
yes, it
simple.
is.
640-4040. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're able to make an appointment for you. to set that up. As I indicated earlier, um, we have things so streamlined at Health City that you can get this done in a day.
Yep.
Globally around the world, this is not the typical. It takes a little while to get everything done.
Right.
So we're very proud of that in terms of how quickly we can actually facilitate that process for persons and that they get their results. When it goes over a day is when maybe there is some indication that there needs to be some additional testing, and then you perhaps would have to come back for another day. But to do the basic package, which is a whole host of tests, you're really looking at a day. So email us, make your appointment to do that. For anyone who has perhaps already done an executive health check, and they know what they're looking for and they want to kind of monitor their personal growth and development, they can also make an appointment just to see the dietitian.
Right.
Which, on the whole host of scale, that's not expensive at all.
Right. Okay.
So coming to see Kaylee, and the beauty about this is that when you sit with a dietitian, it's not a like cookie cutter. It can be curtailed to you
Right.
and the foods that you normally eat. And so, in discussing that with her, then she can look at what you're eating. What are your numbers? Are your numbers going up, down? Are they flat or are they changing? Are they changing for the better and or for the worse? And then
Right.
if not, then what do you need to do to ensure that you're back on track?
Right.
So I think that's the beauty of it. And as Health City, we have so many specialties under one roof, right?
Right.
So the beauty of it is that you meet with a dietitian today, and you talk about what's happening. Maybe Kaylee is going to end up, referring you to go see Dr. Tarun to talk some more because there might be a medical situation if your diet is not changing, is not changing your particular health issue, then maybe there needs to be some other kind of screening.
Right.
So it's important to keep communication open in that regard and ensure that you monitor your numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right too. A couple of things you were saying. We had one day, I think you were in studio, and we had streamed a family that had an emergency,
Yes.
and they were in Boston,
Yeah.
and they were just talking about the type of care that they received in the Cayman Islands. That their family abroad were saying, bring her back to the States, like you don't stay there, and and they were very frightened about everything, but their mind was just completely put at ease because they were able to talk to the doctors every single day. People were calling them, checking on them, and that is not how it happens in the US. So you're absolutely right. Something like this is such a great thing that it's such like personal care, for that day. And I remember it was a day, and I checked in, I think, like at 8 o'clock or 8:30, and I was finished by maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Right.
I had breakfast and lunch, so I had like a breakfast and lunch ticket. And then there were a couple of people, kind of, we were all doing the same thing. So I think it was like 10 people that I'd see them in different areas at different times. So I got to know people, and I had lunch with one lady, like she was my friend, and we were kind of palling together throughout the day, and found out that she was my student's mom. So small world came on. And then my daughter was Miss Cayman Islands 2018, and Miss Cayman Islands 2019, her mother was there. And so it was just like a little beauty queen mother section. It was such a lovely day, and I had such an amazing experience with every single person that I saw. So if you are thinking about, you want to get yourself checked out, that's a place to go. And let me tell you, the reason that I went, I saw a friend of mine who works at a bank, and she looked amazing. She had lost so much weight, like she had looked like a different person. And I was like, look at you, what's going on with you? You look so good. She says, girl, I got this executive health check at Health City. I'm not kidding. Like, it sounds as if, right, I'm making this up. I can't make this stuff up. And she said, you need to go, and you have that whole day, and they check every single thing. And they were able to tell me I was intaking too much starch, too much sugar. I cut this out of my diet. I cut that out of my diet. I eat green bananas, and I don't, instead of rice. And she was just going down the list. And I was just looking at her because she looked amazing. and her skin looked better, like everything. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go check that out. And so even if that's the reason, ladies, if you're listening right now, even if that's the reason, and you know you're not feeling 100% like like you should feel, or you're feeling sluggish or whatever, go and get yourself checked out. And of course, no, we don't need to not say this to the gentleman, because gentlemen do not like to go to the doctor. Dr. Tyrone, you know this, right?
Yeah.
You are a doctor, but gentlemen, trying to get them to the doctor is tough. But yeah, especially you're a certain age, get to the doctor, get yourself checked out, right? Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Most of the time it happens like that. It's the men, they usually think that they're fit, that's why they're healthy.
Right.
And the common misconception comes there.
Yeah. Well, men never like to say when they're sick. Like it's like I don't know if that a man thing in South Africa too, or is
Yes,
that
of course. The women have to drag the men to go.
right?
There's actually couples that come for the health check, and it's quite amazing, because then they make it sort of like a competition between each other, who's healthier in a way, and it's quite amusing.
Right.
But it's good, because then you have someone to promote you and to keep you going, and it's really an amazing thing.
Absolutely. Like just bring your guy, like set up something for him and call and set up that appointment, and maybe both of you can get checked out for the new year, new you, for sure. Yeah. What is that email again, Tiffany?
It's info@healthcity.ky.
All right. So they're simple enough. Make the appointment, and you will feel better about it, and you'll feel better about yourself. So you were listening to the guest from Health City. Today's Medical Mondays brought to you by Health City. And you were listening to Tiffany Dixon Ebanks, who's the Global Sales and Marketing Manager. And Tiffany, she works with the business development team in support of the organization's strategic mission to increase local, regional, and global awareness of the offerings of this state-of-the-art medical facility. I know, Tiffany, you must be so proud of Health City.
Oh, it's a wonderful job that we have. Our marketing and business development team, we have the pleasure, the privilege of being able to promote and showcase the work of the likes of Kaylee as a registered dietitian and Dr. Tarun, who are the professionals, you know what I mean? They're the ones that are giving patients that critical health care that they need. At the end of the day, and I think I said it the last time I was here in studio with you, when you get feedback from the patients is when you realize, this is the impact that this team at Health City have had on them. That's when it comes home to you. Because when you're doing the work and it's like, oh, there's so much to be done, and it can get frustrating and overwhelming sometimes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when you see the result or the outcome, that the patients feel better and they're able to live, healthy and wonderful lives with their families, that's really the goal, right?
Right.
And so just always remembering that, yes, it's a good feeling to have. I know that Dr. Tarun, your patients probably come back to you like I did the other day to say thank you for making me well again, or and using the skill set that you've been blessed with, divine. You there's a skill. You go to school, but then sometimes you have that within your passion within you that you need to give back to the world. And so thanks again to Dr. Tarun, Kaylee, all the doctors at Health City who come to work on a daily, weekly basis and are, doing their best to save lives.
Absolutely. And, I just watched The Surgeon's Cut on Netflix.
With Dr. Shetty.
Absolutely. And everybody should go check that out. If you have Netflix, go and check out Surgeon's Cut. And one of the stories on there is actually Dr. Shetty's story about how Health City kind of even came about. So yeah, we're very glad to have this just absolute necessary resource in the Cayman Islands. And Tiffany, always great to see you. We go way back.
Yes.
Right. And you've been coordinating stuff for a while now, and over there keeping everybody organized over at Health City. So thank you all so much, and thank you so much for bringing us Medical Mondays. Every Monday on Straight Talk, the Drive at 5 show, just keeping people informed, about all the great stuff you're doing at Health City and East End to keep people healthy. So, new year, new you. Take yourself to Health City to get your executive health check. It is a necessity. 640-4040. Make that appointment today, ladies. Take your men and get them checked out. Don't take your health for granted. I think that's how we close the show. Don't take your health for granted. Just go and get yourself checked out, and it's as simple as can be. So just do it. Health City. That's where everything is happening, and they just take such great care of you. And at the end of it, you'll be happy. Your body will thank you for it. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Talron.
you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Thank you.
And thank you, Miss Tiffany. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon as well. We will talk with you again tomorrow, Tuesday's Hot Topics. Don't forget to tune in. Have a great afternoon.
Oh, my husband, he's on the fancy make play.